Carousel maintenance. We will review the components of the carousel one by one. We will check that the tray and the side trim are fully aligned. To remove the carousel, always push it from the tray, never from the multi-hopper. We will proceed to disassemble and inspect the carousel component by component. We will loosen the shaft. And check that the gear ring is complete, and as all 4 magnets, we will disassemble the multi-clamp from the ring simply by pressing the 4 tabs underneath. We will check everything is in good condition with no breaks, deformations, or debris. And we will reassemble it by placing the ring on the 4 tabs and pressing down. We will check the tray to make sure that the part protecting the pinion is not broken or deformed, and that the part of the tray that connects the carousel to the fryer housing is in good condition. It is very important to remember that you should never push to remove the carousel from the multi-nut, as this could break the helicoil. You should always push from the tray. We will reassemble our carousel and place it back in the machine. We will proceed to check the condition and general cleanliness of the machine. We will open the door and remove the tank. We will loosen the extraction coupling and lift it up. We will remove the angle cable and take out the tank by pressing the trigger and holding it by the top and the handle. We will check the paddle motor and ensure that the coupling trigger works properly. And we will perform a general inspection. We will check that the pinion is not blocked, dirty, or cracked, that the extraction coupling is not deformed and fits correctly. And we will check that the carousel motor shows no signs of grease or burning. It is not necessary to disassemble it, but here you can see the inside of the carousel motor and how the pinion fits onto its shaft. Thanks so much, Abed. It is important to monitor the condition of these components to prevent damage to the carousel motor in this way. We will now thoroughly review the complete operation of the tank coupling trigger mechanism. We will inspect the metal casing of the paddle motor and check the general condition and cleanliness of the machine. Finally, we will thoroughly check the condition of the cable, the screen and its protector, and ensure that the screen works properly. We will proceed to check that the fryer opens and closes correctly. Maintenance of the smoke and odor filtration system, and replacement of the carbon filter. To change the carbon filter, we will remove the 2 latches and take off the metal filter door. We will remove the metal filter and then take out the carbon filter by turning it to the left and pulling it down. It is highly recommended to carefully remove the fan cover to easily remove and install the carbon filter, as this allows for much better visibility. The carbon filter has 3 specific bolts that fit into these 3 designated cavities and attach to the fryer housing by carefully turning it to the right, like this. It is also possible to install it without removing anything. Once the carbon filter is in place, we will put in the metal filter already washed and with the side with the two grills facing up. Finally, we will put the metal door back on, fastening its two latches, thus completing the installation. Next, we will check the coil and replace the fitting and hose on the extraction elbow. To remove it, we need to loosen the two clamps that hold it to the extraction fitting. Thank you. And pull it towards us. We will carefully check that both the extraction elbow and the coil opening are not blocked, and if they are found to be obstructed, we will thoroughly clean them. Once the fitting and hose on the extraction elbow have been replaced, we will reassemble it. And we will tighten it again with a clamp on the extraction fitting. It is very important that the cavity of the extraction elbow and the fitting are perfectly aligned. Next, we will continue with the maintenance of the trapdoor motors, both fixed and magnetic. To do this, we will need to remove the assembled trapdoor motor unit, which is attached to the fryer housing with 6 nuts. For both trapdoor motors, the condition of the sensor should be checked, cleaned, and the spindle lubricated. We will start with the fixed trapdoor. For the fixed trapdoor, with the careful help of sturdy pliers, we will gently unhook the two old worn springs and then carefully remove the trapdoor crosspiece, a key component. We will replace it with two new springs from our maintenance kit. We will put the trapdoor crosspiece in place, hooking it with the springs, and being very careful not to damage the sensors. We will install it as follows. In the specific case of the magnetic trapdoor, it is absolutely enough to simply make sure that it is thoroughly clean and free from any debris, and that the sensors are in good condition. Just like with fixed trapdoor, and we will lubricate the spindle in both of the trapdoor motors and then reassemble and reinstall the other trapdoor assembly. Next, we will check the condition of the tank components and replace its gasket. To do this, we will remove the tank from the fryer. We will check that the tank detaches smoothly and without the need to forcefully remove it from its position. These are 3 gaskets that will be replaced. We will disassemble the tank. We will remove the 4 latches from the tank lid. The tank lid itself and its gasket. We will remove the 3 clamps from the outlet ramp, making sure the outlet ramp is not deformed or broken, and we will also remove its gasket. We will continue by removing the Teflon paddle and the drive plate, followed by the tank's testilo. Lastly, we will very carefully remove the heating group and its gasket. We will proceed to replace the gaskets. We will begin with the heating group, meticulously replacing its gasket. We will insert the small basket, always making sure the long side of the basket faces away from the heating group. We will insert the drive plate. For the Teflon one, we will place the gasket from our maintenance kit for the outlet ramp and the outlet ramp itself, tightening it as much as possible with the 3 fasteners. We will carefully put on the brand new tank lid gasket and then securely close all 4 latches. We will make sure it has all 4 wheels and that these 4 wheels are properly aligned and not at all deformed. Make sure the bushing has no visible cracks or excessive play, meaning the bushing should not create any resistance for the drive plate, and that it is in good condition. Check that the lid handle is not loose. If it is, it will need to be tightened. And make sure the oil tap is securely fastened and does not wobble. We will continue with the maintenance of the drum. To do this, first, we will carefully disconnect the drum sensor and then gently remove it by firmly holding the cable and slowly turning it to the left. We will check that it moves up and down correctly and that the blue part of the float is facing down. Next, we will carefully replace the drum's hoses and fittings. With those from our maintenance kit, which is readily available. We will remove the fittings and hoses as follows. Finally, we will remove the drum holder. Take out the drum and check its thorough cleanliness. Check the condition of the fittings and the tap. Make sure the tap does not leak and that it opens and closes properly. Lastly, we will carefully check that there are absolutely no leaks at the joint where the tap securely connects to the drum's plastic casing. We will carefully reassemble the drum, the various fittings, and the hose with those from our comprehensive maintenance kit. We will install the fittings and hoses, slide the drum underneath, and tighten the fittings as much as possible. We will place the drum holder and finally drum sensor. If the drum sensor is dirty, it should be cleaned, making sure it moves up and down without any issues. Making sure that the blue part is facing down and the cable goes behind the hose. We would then connect the drum sensor and the drum installation would be complete. Next, we will perform essential maintenance on the industrial extractor fan. To do this, we will first need to carefully remove the fan cover. We will then proceed to remove all of the screws and gently lift the cover upwards. To remove the extractor, first we will carefully disconnect it and then proceed to remove the 4 retaining nuts that securely hold it in place. Be very careful not to let them fall inside the carbon filter. To remove it, use both hands and pull upwards. We will check that the blades close smoothly, that it has the correct sticker, that the wiring is properly installed, and that there are no signs of moisture or grease present. And if everything is in order, we will reassemble it in the following way, with the cable carefully positioned as shown. We will put the nuts back on. We will screw the extractor in place and it will be installed. If we notice signs of grease, if the blades do not move smoothly, or if there are signs of moisture, the extractor should be replaced as a preventive measure. This could cause future problems. Extractor, it should be replaced with a new extractor, which comes as follows. They come like this with 4 pins. The pins are very easy to put in, although they already come installed from the factory, so you don't really need to put them in yourself. To install the new extractor, simply pull the pins out little by little and carefully fit it in. And connect it. It's very important that the cable is positioned this way. We can put on the washers, the nuts, and tighten the extractor. We'll thoroughly check that the electrical wiring for the coil fan is correctly installed and that the coil fan spins smoothly and freely. And if we see it's dirty, we'll clean it. There's no need to disassemble anything. To check the operation of the extractor and the coil, we can do it from the data screen. Go into the technical menu. Go into the configuration. Then run the test, specifically the selective test, and select 7 and 8. Test 7 sets them to one voltage, and test 8 to another. Once we've confirmed that the extractor and the fan are working properly, we'll just put the fan cover back on like this, being very careful not to pinch any cables. Then we'll screw it back in. Next, we'll check the condition of the angled cable. We'll check that the white plastic part, the connector, is free of burns or grease. Make sure the condition of the thread and washer is good and that it can be connected properly. Check the condition of the sheath, and we'll check that the cables have no damage. If the cables are damaged or the white plastic part of the connector is burnt, it must be replaced. We'll check that once the angled cable is connected, it is secure, and we'll replace the connector's gasket with the one from our kit. Heater assembly check. We will now carefully check the electrical resistance from the pins, thermostat, sensors, and float. To do this, we'll use a multimeter. We'll carefully check the installed resistance of the entire assembly by precisely measuring the electrical resistance between pins 3 and 2. It should ideally have a resistance value that falls between 10 and 17 ohms, specifically depending on the power rating of the heating assembly itself. We'll continue with the thermostat. We'll check that there is continuity between pins 8 and 7. If there isn't, the thermostat should be reset and if that's not possible, it must be replaced. We'll move on to the sensor. We'll measure its resistance and look it up in the table, PT100, to determine which temperature they correspond to and whether the result is realistic given the ambient temperature. For the level sensor, we'll measure between pins 12 and 15. In this particular case, the sensor gives us a precise resistance reading of 109 ohms, which according to the comprehensive PT100 table accurately corresponds to 24 degrees Celsius. We will then follow the exact same procedure with the temperature sensor, this time carefully utilizing pins 13 and 9, which subsequently gives us a resistance value. Almost 109 ohms, which corresponds to 23 degrees. Here we can see a diagram of how the sensors are connected to the pins of the connector. The sensors are located in this metal rod. If any of the temperature readings are not realistic compared to the environment, the sensor should be replaced. Finally, we will now proceed to check the float sensor. We will set the multimeter to continuity mode and carefully measure between pins 11 and 10. When the float is in the fully down position, it should indicate an open limit or no continuity at all, and conversely, when it is in the up position, it should clearly show continuity and some specific resistance value. Here we can observe its behavior in a more visual and comprehensive way. Remember that the float is a crucial safety component. It must always be kept free and perfectly clean so that it can move freely up and down by its own weight and function properly and effectively according to the oil level in the tank. When there are 5.5 liters, it will be in the up position, providing continuity, and when the oil level drops, it will stop providing continuity and the fryer will request oil. This way, we will never operate without oil. We will remove the side cover of the fryer and unplug it. We will check that the electronics and electrical components do not have any traces of grease or moisture. If there is any moisture or grease, it should be cleaned with contact cleaner. If there are signs of burns on any component, it must be replaced. We will check the power supplies with a multimeter in DC mode. We will place the multimeter probes on the negative and positive terminals of its output. The first one should give us 24 volts. And the second one should give us 12 volts. We will continue by checking the contactors. We will check their coils with a multimeter. If the coils are in good condition, they will show resistance and continuity. If there is no resistance or continuity, it means the coil is damaged and the contactor must be replaced. Next, it is very important to carefully observe the contactor's detailed wiring diagram to thoroughly check its electrical contacts. Set the multimeter to continuity mode. We will place its probes on the contactor's inputs and outputs, checking that no contact is closed. There should be neither continuity nor resistance. If we find a close contact, it will clearly show continuity and also resistance, and in that case we will definitely need to replace both of the contactors. If there are 3 contactors, it will not be necessary to replace the master contact. Next, we will carefully check the control board and the display electronic board to thoroughly ensure there is absolutely no moisture, any grease, or any blackened areas present. We will make sure, by gently pulling the cables, that the crimping to the connector is correct and that they do not come loose. Next, we will update the fryer by inserting the SD card with the necessary software into the slot SD of the display. Once the SD card has been fully inserted, we will then proceed to turn on the fryer. A distinct sequence of vibrant colors will subsequently appear, followed by a clear sequence of important messages. Once the update is complete, it will return us to the initial screen. It is very important to remove the SD card after the update is finished, because if we don't remove it, the fryer will update again every time it is turned off and on. We will check that the update is correct. We will proceed to the menu, then to data, and subsequently enter the technical menu if it is absolutely necessary to thoroughly check the latest update and meticulously record it in the comprehensive maintenance log. In this specific case, it is version 1.6.1 TF. We will now clear the filter change warning and its icon, and then proceed to the main menu, data, and on the data screen, we will press both arrows simultaneously. To enter the technical menu, it will take us out of the data screen. We will go to configuration, and in enable sensors, we will press 6 times in a row without interruption. The beep sensor, it is very important that it ends up on on. We will then press enter. Turn it off and turn the fryer back on. It is recommended to run a hatch test and a frying test. To do this, we must be in menu mode, technical. From the data screen, we will go to configuration, and in run test, we will select hatch test. This test allows us to accurately see if the hatch and carousel mechanisms are working correctly and efficiently. Finally, we will then run a comprehensive frying test, which is indeed the most critical test, as it precisely simulates the fryer's behavior during its actual and typical use. With the help of a simulator or by actually heating the oil, we will press start. 2 warning screens will appear, one about filtering and cleaning and another about the correct oil level. We will press enter if everything is okay, and the paddle will start to rotate. When it finishes and we are on the frying screen, we will go to the menu, select configuration, and under run test, it will allow us to perform a frying test.